ask some questions. You were saying animals are sentient and plants are non-sentient. Are you aware of this research that recently in Arabidopsis thaliana, one of the model plants for every botanical research, it was discovered that it has 13 neuroreceptors, just as human has. While human has 19, it has 13. So when you say that plants don't have a nervous system, so they don't feel anything, don't you feel that's also speciesism?
First of all, whether it is speciesism, well, firstly, on paper, I will say yes, of course it is speciesism on paper. But this is like asking someone a question. Imagine if I had two humans with me here right now. One is alive and one is dead. And I was pouring petrol on both, and I told you, pick one to put the flame on. Which will you choose?
So plant is not dead.
Which one will you choose here, just alive or dead human?
Well, dead.
But he's also a human being. How can you say that?
But he's not alive, sir.
Exactly. Similarly, plants, what I'm saying is they are not sentient. My point is that, of course, like how you said, is it speciesism on paper? Of course it's speciesism. No one is denying that. But similarly, both are also humans. But you clearly understand the difference between burning a human being who's alive and a human being who's dead. They're different actions. Because one can clearly feel pain and suffering and does not want to die. Another thing you're saying here is that plants are having a nervous system. First of all, we have to look into the validity of this research. Because there are many researchers that come out. I even made plenty of videos online debunking these things, where they put out these big headlines saying that vegans have to now start eating meat because it's proven that plants can scream in pain. Usually headlines and the actual scientific research do not exactly match, because the people in the press will just put a clickbait article headline to prove that. So I have not looked at the paper you're saying right now, so I personally cannot comment on the paper. But a plant does not have they have neurons. They have neurons in their cells.
Not neurons, but they have the system to feel
that
and sense.
Of course they can, that I agree. See, the point is this. Okay, let's just take it two ways first of all. Of course what you're saying is true, else how else does a touch me not plant close itself? The point is that you need to have a brain and a nervous system that is connected to different organs in order to perceive that as pain. See, pain is not the mere chemical that runs through us, or when we feel pain, there's this electrical impulse that runs through us. They can show even on a plant there's an electrical impulse that runs through it, right? That is not pain. The electrical impulse running through us and then reaching our brain processing that impulse and then secreting a particular chemical that then makes us feel scared and then feel hurt, that is pain. That chemical being secreted is pain. That cannot occur in a plant. And the second question I would put forth to you is that, let's just say right now that what you're saying is right. The research is correct and that plants can feel pain. What should we conclude from it, though? I'm just asking, do you have like a takeaway from that? Like, what do you want to conclude based on that?
I'm just saying that plants, we have to eat something.
Of course, I agree.
To survive.
Completely.
We can't just breathe and
agreed. Yes.
We breathe. So if plants have the feelings too, if they do have pain, then it's equally immoral or equally unethical to eat them as well.
Okay, then let's say, for example, there is a person who takes a knife and begins killing human beings. Humans also fall under the animal kingdom. Agreed? So cows, chickens, pigs are animals. Humans also animals or mammals. So if you can just say, are you trying to justify killing farmed animals by saying that plants also feel pain? If you're not saying that.
I'm not justifying anything.
You're not justifying.
I'm just saying the fact that whether it's unethical or not, how do you feel about that? Because you're saying artificial insemination is bad.
Yes, of course.
So banana, grapes,
right.
They are fruits. They should have seeds,
right.
which is necessarily the embryos of the
right,
plant.
Right.
But they don't have.
Right.
Because we do parthenogenesis.
Of course.
We put auxin and other hormones in them.
Yes.
So that they don't have seed.
Correct.
And why do we do that? It's not a necessity. It's because it doesn't feel good to have those seeds in our mouth.
That is not the only, for GMO, I don't think that's the only reason. If we did not have GMO crops.
It's not about GMO. Banana and grape, they are specifically done for that.
They are bred. They're over hundreds of years. Yes, correct.
Because it doesn't.
No, but again, what I'm telling you is that of course I don't feel bad because we are comparing them to animals in the scenario, right? The question is plant and animal. You compared artificial insemination to a banana plant. I'm asking you, would you ever compare a situation like a child molestation to a banana plant? Why is it that when your species is harmed, you are not comparing them to plants, but when others are harmed, you're comparing them to plants?
That's just our perception.
That's us being selfish. Here's how it works. It's about how big we keep our circle of compassion. I can say, oh, I am Arvind, I am 6 foot tall, so only people who are above 6 feet have the right to do blah, blah, blah. Or no, people who only look like me, my skin color, or my gender, my nationality. It's about breaking these down and saying, no, what is the similarity between all of us? Like I said in the beginning, we're all humans. So all of us obviously are equal. But we fail to include animals into this because we have been grown up in a society, it's been pounded in our brains that these animals do not deserve this respect. It's a simple example. If I spoke here today about only cats and dogs, about how they're suffering in the streets, or about elephants who are being abused in circuses, you would not have brought this example. It's only when I bring up, you just ask yourself these questions. We talk about this only when we talk about farm animals, about plants, because we unfortunately do not even give them that basic respect of being a sentient creature. Animals are sentient, all the animals that we kill and eat. Plants are not. Think of it, there are totally how many kingdoms? 5 kingdoms, I believe. Plant kingdom, animal kingdom, fungi, protist, and monera. Only one of these is capable of feeling pain and suffering, and that's the animal kingdom. And like I said, not all animals feel pain. Jellyfish don't feel pain. Clams and oysters do not feel pain. So if someone doesn't feel pain, I'm not going to take that, there's not suffering there. Just like how a dead person being burned is not suffering. It's the alive, it's the sentient, the ones who are having some, we all have common things between us. Let's look at that and then extend our circle of compassion is the whole idea. Not about trying to close it by saying we are unique in our particular ways. And you're asking me, why aren't you opening a circle of compassion to plants? You already answered that by saying that we have to eat something. That's number one. Now, if I could choose between someone who can feel and suffer just like me or someone who doesn't suffer at all, obviously I'm going to choose the other option, not the violent one. Because that is not, you can label it as violence if you want to, but my only point is that there is no suffering there. We are trying to reduce and end suffering. Because be it human suffering or animal suffering, do you agree both of us suffer the same, humans and animals? Or do you think if someone hit me, a human feels more pain than a dog or a chicken? Who do you think feels more pain here, me or
Everyone should.
It's equal. But you do agree that hitting a dog or hitting me is different from hitting an apple, right? Or it's the same?
When you take the apple from the tree, it's all the same. I mean, apple.
No. My point is, do you honestly feel within you that plucking an apple from a tree and taking a stick and hitting a sleeping dog is the exact same?
I feel that.
You honestly feel that? Now, okay, you feel that. Now, I will ask you a question. I want you to be honest if you can, please. Did you even imagine you would say to a human being that plucking an apple and hitting a dog is the same thing? Would you have ever imagined in your life you would ever say that statement?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Well,
Plenty of times. Because a lot of people say vegetarians and whatever, they will always go like this that eating plants is fine, eating animals is wrong.
Right.
What I want to say is that this right and wrong, who decides it? It's ultimate us.
Yes.
And plants have life, we know that for a very long time. But do we really care what is happening with the plants? We do not care about that.
Yeah.
But plucking an apple necessarily means you're taking a plant's child, you're taking a plant organ out of it. Plucking a leaf is also means
So,
the same.
okay, then I'm asking you, if someone right now were to go out and kidnap someone's child and plucking an apple is the same, human child,
Should be the same.
I'm asking only your opinion, is it the same according to you? Kidnapping a human child and an apple, is it the same?
No, not because society doesn't judge it.
According to you, do you think it's the same? Leave the society, who cares? Do you think that someone actually right now kidnapping another fellow human's child and their mother will be screaming day and night for the child to be given back is the same as me plucking an apple? Do you feel it's the same?
Yes, I feel it's the same.
Okay, at this point then I will end the conversation because for 2 reasons. Number one, don't take it the wrong way, you are just being dishonest. Number two is, if you were in that child's position or in that animal's position and something bad was happening to you and someone else was trying to justify the violence happening to you by saying that someone else plucks an apple, trust me, you would not feel the same way. That's all I can say.